Okay, as we get started today, these are the materials that you're going to need. Your page and your notebook, colored pencils, glue, scissors, your pencil to write with, and then 3 different colors of paper squares, 2 of one color, I picked orange, 2 of a second color, I picked brown, and then 4 of a third color, I picked pink. You can pick different colors if you want. You don't need the same for me. Okay, let me set this in. Ooh, one last thing. When we get done, that is what our notes will look like. So, let me set this and get it situated for what we're going to do. So we are going to start out by, in our notebook, and I already have a copy of this in my notebook, so I'm going to do it on a piece of loose leaf paper. Start by writing the title, Energy in Cells. So we're going to talk about how do cells make and use energy, or let me rephrase that. What is the molecule involved in that? We're going to start by actually cutting our papers to get them ready for when we get the notes in there. So take one of the colors that you have just 2 of, and you are going to make a shape that looks similar to this, and I usually have to do like a few cuts, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's really just a 6-sided shape that looks kind of like that. Of course, mine does not look perfect. So I want you to make 2 of those to get started. If you need to stop the video and look at them, that's okay as you're doing it. There we go. So I have 2 of those shapes. And then take the one that you have 4 of, and you're going to cut out 4 houses or pentagons. I like to make mine kind of small so they don't take up too much space, so I'm going to be trimming down. That's 1. You don't have to make them perfect, so don't worry if they're not. Don't spend time doing this. And the 4th one. And then with the 2 leftover colors, you're going to cut out 5 little circles. I possibly could have got them out of 1 square, but just to be safe, I pulled 2 squares. So I'm going to cut 2 out of the first one. Oops. And 3 out of the second one. 1. And they don't have to be perfect circles either. And if you need to stop and pause this right now to finish cutting out yours, that is perfectly okay. Okay, so I have 2 here. 4
Ronald O'Key to the main
and
office, please. Ronald O'Key to the main
5. Ignore that announcement. Okay, so I'll set the scraps aside, put these aside for a little bit. We're going to start with writing the name of the first molecule we're going to make is called adenosine diphosphate. Anytime you need to pause the video, go ahead. Okay, and I purposely made these letters bubble letters because in the future I'm probably not going to say adenosine diphosphate. I'm going to say ADP. Okay, so what does this molecule look like? So you need your glue. You need 1, 2 of these, and 2 of these. So what you're going to do is start by gluing these on in this order and in this shape. And if you need to, if I'm moving too fast for you, you can pause it. Right now would be a good time to pause if you need to get those glue on. Okay, after you're done gluing them down, you are going to connect them. And these connections are indicating that they are bonds. So they're bonded together. This is what we consider a chemical bond. So these represent chemical bonds. The names, the parts of these have different names. So this part right here is called adenine. This molecule right here is called ribose. And this part right here is where it gets the last part of its name, diphosphate, because these are the phosphates. And di prefix means two, so diphosphate, two phosphates. ADP is like a half-charged battery. Like, it does have some energy stored in it, but it is not ready to give the cell energy. So it's a half-charged battery. It is the regular state of this molecule. It is an energy storage molecule. It cannot give off energy, yet can't give off energy. But we're going to use this molecule to make the next molecule. In order to give off energy, it has to be made into the next molecule that we're going to has to be made into, arrow pointing down to the one we're going to put across right here. So your cells can't use this for energy, but there are a lot of ADP, and your cells will turn ADP into a molecule called adenosine triphosphate. And the name of this molecule should give you a clue to what its structure might look like in comparison to the one above. So the difference being diphosphate and triphosphate. And I'm not going to be calling it adenosine triphosphate a lot. Sometimes I will, but most of the time I'm going to call it ATP. Okay, just like the molecule above, it has three parts, and we are going to glue those on next, so make sure that you have them. I'm missing one of my circles. I'm going to have to cut another one out. So now we're going to start gluing these ones on to make this molecule. So right now we're making a model of these two molecules. So you can see another example of a model because you have to be proficient in this unit at making models, not about ATP, but about photosynthesis and cellular respiration, which we'll get to those a little bit later. Okay, I found my third one. So now that I have them glued on, I'm going to connect them again with bonds. So these molecules are all bonded together. You can see that adenosine triphosphate has an extra bond, right? So 1, 2, 3 bonds there, 1, 2, 3, 4 bonds here. It is made up of the same parts: adenine, ribose, and phosphates. And this time, instead of 2 phosphates, we can see 3 phosphates for triphosphate, 3 phosphates. So this is what we consider a fully charged battery. And if I'm going too fast, stop the video and catch up, because you can pause it and see what I got on here. Let me make sure that you can see everything. You can. Excellent. Okay, this is a fully charged battery. This is ready to give us energy. So when cells need energy, what do they add on to ADP? Well, they add on 1 phosphate. They add a phosphate to ADP to make ATP. Okay, so now it's a fully charged battery, but we have a fully charged battery. Are we using it for energy yet? Nope, we are not. So now that we've made the ATP, we have to use the ATP to actually get that energy out of it. And the way that we do that is by making it actually back into ADP. Yep, so what do we have to do? Pow, break off that phosphate. So let me make sure you can see what I'm writing at the bottom. You can, perfect. To get energy out, or released, you need to, the cell, not you, cell needs to break off the third phosphate. Okay, so happening in your cells over and over again is a phosphate getting put onto ADP and a phosphate being taken off of ATP. And that chemical reaction creates or releases a lot of energy into your cells, and that's what makes your cells do the processes that it needs to do. So then my question becomes is, where is energy located in this molecule right here? And in order to figure that out, you have to figure out what makes them different, right? And what makes them different is that you have this third phosphate bonded to this second phosphate from ADP. So we find energy release in the bonds. So energy, this is a very important idea. Energy is located in chemical bonds. Exclamation point. Let's put a little thing around that because this is super important. So we put a phosphate on and we take it off just to get energy out of that bond. Okay, and if you're not quite done and you need to finish up, freeze this or pause this so you can do that.